Something happened last week.
And this guy, Andy Byron, the dude cheated on his wife, got caught doing a little prom picture photo, and Coldplay called it out right there.
And what are you going to call that scandal?
I'm going to call it.
There are personal moments or there are private moments, but you got to realize that your actions everywhere do affect the people at the company, the way that people see you internally and externally.
I think if that were to happen to you or me, people would be bummed at our character, right? They'd be like, damn, we've really been driving this mission for years and really believe in it. And we were led by the co-founders who pioneered this thing. And it's just a bummer that there is this piece of them that was so flawed or immoral or unethical or whatever. But did they all of a sudden... Welcome back to another episode of the Who Cares Podcast, a podcast show.
Podcast for business leaders, entrepreneurs, change makers, difference seekers who do care. Let's make that up different every time.
A program. Do people say program still?
Stories. You're watching your stories?
Watching your stories, yeah. So welcome back to Who Cares? I'm Jay O'Brien.
I'm Jeff Jackel.
Well, we're recording on a Friday, which is why I'm not wearing black, and I am in a golf shirt.
Golf shirt's otherwise known as a polo, and that's pretty much what you wear every single recording. In fact, sometimes when I'm sending this stuff to them, I'm like, did I send them to this before? Nope, he's just worn that shirt 5 times. Oh, you know what? We talked yesterday, but then we scratched that, so we can talk about how you're looking great, and your shoulders are so round and big.
Let's see in the monitor.
You're a tough guy.
It's getting better. My face is getting less fat. I won't say it's getting thinner. It's just getting less fat. So whilst it's not perfect, I'm making progress.
I think you look great.
It's the first time I've recognized my fatness in real time.
Your face smells fine.
Usually it's I look back in photos and it goes, whoa.
What did I tell you? By the way, there was a episode we recorded several months ago where I told you, and you thought it was a very weird thing to say, that there's going to be more pictures taken of you at this time than pretty much any other time. You're going to just start. And I was right. It's already happening. All over the place. You got a baby in your hand. You're doing the thing. You want to tell the audience what you did last Friday? Something that
so the super unique idea Ash had, basically wanted to kind of do something no one's ever done for a family photo shoot before. So at least in Orange County. So what we decided to do was go to the beach kind of close to when the sun's about to go down.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And we wore white linen.
Oh, interesting choice. Unique.
Yeah. So, totally different. Totally coincidental, though. There was a family of 20 people in the same thing when we were there.
And what's weird is you don't mean a family of 20 people. You mean 20 different families.
Yeah.
I love that about Sunset.
The family was quite large.
Sunset in Hawaii, there were literally, when we were on our trip in Maui, there were a minimum of 8 groups of people doing photos.
Yeah.
Every evening on the beach.
That's what I was doing, yeah. And, one of the best photos is, it's light outside, but you don't see the beach or anything. We could have been anywhere. The background's just kind of blown out.
Oh, but you could tell it's blue. It's blue from top to, you could tell it's water leading into sky. You're talking about the one with the 3 of you? The one that you just showed me? Yeah, you can tell the whole background. Are you at the edge of a cliff or are you edge of a railing?
Yeah, I think in that photo we probably were. Mm-hmm. You can see that in the photo?
Mm-hmm. Well, very intuitive.
Okay. So what's going on with you? Your face looks good too.
Does it? I feel like a little tired. Yeah, I'm ready to play golf as well. It's a Friday. We won't be playing together much, but hold on. I'm gonna divert you for a second. The way that they hate when we do it. Wilder in summer school camp. He thought it was camp. We called it camp. It was summer school.
He's listening.
I know. He learned, in his words, how to play chess.
Didn't every kid call it chest?
I did not.
Neither did I.
No. He learned how to play chess. He knows what everything does. He is teaching his mother currently. She's not learning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I would love to play chess with him at the cabin.
Let's do it.
That would be wonderful.
And you mean chess?
Yeah, we'll play chess. Okay, so
something happened last week.
And this guy, Andy Byron, the dude cheated on his wife. Got caught doing a little prom picture photo, and Coldplay called it out right there.
And what are you going to call that scandal?
I'm going to call it Colgate.
Yeah. Colgate.
Not Coldgate.
Oh, I know.
Colgate. Because if Coldplay is seeing thriving streams on the America Onlines, then shouldn't the toothpaste company get some love too? I mean, there's opportunity everywhere.
Yeah. Not a Colgate person myself, but they should enjoy the...
And you told me yesterday that people are reenacting the
it's everywhere.
The pull away at all these stadiums.
Everywhere.
What's happening?
Stadiums all over the place, and it's like they do a kiss cam, but it's a pull away cam. So that whenever they go around to people and they put the kiss cam on you, like people are just reenacting what these people did and like pushing each other away and ducking down and doing the thing.
I gotta say, I've seen a lot of funny things happen on kiss cams. Like people who aren't together clearly, but they think they are or whatever. It's like a little blip of time. It's nothing. Never has one like relived or whatever. I mean, that pull away was so gnarly, and then Chris Martin called it out. He goes, either those people are having an affair or they're just really shy. And he's like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Had they reacted like not at all, it wouldn't have left the stadium. Like people who were there would have known, they would have been like, oh, but if they hadn't, like let's say somebody knew. So, sorry, back this up. The lady that he is having an affair with is actually also at their company, Astronomer. He's the CEO of the company. She is the head of HR. Yep. So like, yes, of course the adultery is terribly wrong, but also this is like blown up an entire company. He's stepped down. She is still there.
I think so, yeah.
Right? He issued a statement, etc. So that's why it's interesting for us to talk from a company perspective and a business perspective. But my point is, if somebody else like that knew them personally was at the show, then they would have known had they not responded so drastically.
Well, there's a woman next to them who acts like, but her look on her face is like, yes. Like I obviously know this is.
And she's right there. I mean, she's got to know them.
For sure.
So she knows something untoward is going on. Is that the word? Untoward? Yeah.
I don't know. You're smarter than me with words.
Well, you forgot the word words.
Disrespect.
I'm gonna take that as disrespect.
So let me ask you: Do you think that there's still such a thing as a private moment if you're a founder or CEO of a company?
Sure. There's private
because I'll tell you, I leave here and it's just there's cameras everywhere on me.
Right, paparazzi.
It's
snap.
I can't go anywhere without I get asked for a selfie or an autograph. It's like enough's enough. I'm just a normal guy, like right. you know.
Just a normal guy leading a 30-person company, and yes, of course, I think there's still private moments. What I think it makes you think about as a leader inside an organization is that your actions, both inside the confines of the walls or your duty as an officer of the business and outside of them, reflect on the business when you're so vital to it. So he's a co-founder of the company. If he does something that has absolutely nothing to do with business, this does, because he's actually, I have no idea what the rules are within the organization for like, can you or can you not date a coworker? But obviously the decisions that he's made in his personal life and the decisions that he's basically made to risk so much, I think that's the question that comes to light here is like, sure, there are personal moments or there are private moments, but you got to realize that your actions everywhere do affect the people at the company, do affect the company in the way that people see you internally and externally.
Well, also, I mean, you're doing this in a very public place.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
You don't think you're going to get caught on a kiss cam, but you could see anyone else who's going to see Coldplay that night who's like,
yes,
hey, why is that guy touching her?
Yeah, that's what I mean is like, it wouldn't have gotten national, but I mean, anybody could see you in a box. It's just what's the, is it Rounders? Bad judgment.
Yeah.
That's terribly bad judgment. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, part of you would also be like, dude, if a guy's going to go and do this and he's that bad at, he's not that smart.
I mean, yeah, I can't really wrap my head around that one, but I'm also not an adulterer.
Well, sure. But do you think that like a founder or somebody in business actually understands how fast or thinks about how fast the internet can flip a narrative and just like put it out there and make everybody get the spotlight be on you, and how quickly, like, do you think he ever would have dreamed that something like this would?
No, I don't think anyone would have, honestly. Like, I would think that, I don't know, like, in that moment, clearly they're like a little spooked that there's a camera on them. I don't think they're thinking anyone's seeing this, but who's in the stadium, and maybe they know someone in the stadium, right?
Yeah,
like that's
and
probably
at
the
that point,
first thought that comes to mind.
And at that point, that's all it would have been.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So your question is what now?
So stuff like this happens. Like, people getting canceled. People like something will happen. Somebody will make an error in judgment, a bad decision, or whatever. They get caught. And we've seen it time and time again, more in the last 5 or 6 years. Their entire world blows up. So the people have seen that precedent set. They understand it. You wouldn't think of this 10 years ago. Like people weren't, you know what I mean? No. Or 20 years ago. Things couldn't happen this quickly for everybody to know this. Do you think that, let's say, a public figure or CEO of a company thinks about those things when they're making whatever life decisions?
I mean, maybe, but in this situation, he's obviously just towing the line like way too much. I mean, is he thinking about what could potentially happen with his company? No, because he's not thinking about his own family, I shouldn't say he's not thinking about it. He clearly is, right? It's a risk assessment. You're basically saying like, I've got feelings for this woman, or this is fun, or whatever it is, and I'm willing to take the risk to have that fun because I believe I will not be caught. You know what I mean? You're not saying this is better than my company, this is better than my family. You're just saying, I'm going to gamble on the fact that I won't get caught doing it, right? That's ultimately what that is. It's kind of like when people, you're like, they get a DUI or something, and you're like, why would you do that? The cost of an Uber is $8. Like, well, no, obviously, if I had the exchange in front of me,
right,
I would choose the Uber. The whole reason is you think you can get away getting home and have no problem having your car in the morning, sure, and whatever. That's really, this is similar in the fact that he's saying, well, I think I could have the fun and never get caught, and I could kind of have it all, and so I'm going to take that risk.
Yeah. My guess is also that he would have weighed the worst case scenario and never would have dreamed that the worst case scenario was Correct. As bad as what has happened.
Correct. And so viral fake apologies, like what's up with that? I'm really unfamiliar with this, but I saw like, a statement from him and a statement from his wife, and in looking for those, there's like a ton of fake statements and fake apologies. Do people do that? They're like throwing out stuff as if it were him, or I don't really get it.
I don't know if that's
or is it a PR team that's actually drafting an apology that people say is fake because it's not him?
Well, there's two things, and it's getting worse and worse and worse because of AI. But what I think, usually when someone turns a fake apology, they're just calling it like a bullshit apology. You made an apology because you had to. You obviously had a PR crisis management team that came in and said, okay, here's our crisis communication team. We got to have our CEO come out and say something because like their one job is to salvage the culture inside the company. They've got 375 employees or something, I think I read. You don't want people to just like run for the hills and say, hey, I don't want to be involved in this like freaking circus.
Yeah.
Also, they have it's not 300. Yeah, it's 400 employees-ish, but they've raised another $93 million in a Series D recently. So they're probably going to be going on a hiring spree. They're probably trying to expand. Like their number one thing is probably acquisition of talent. Like who the hell wants to jump over to this company while all this is going on? So their PR team is sitting there thinking, we got to get out ahead of this. Let's issue an apology. They put something together, and sometimes those things can just feel terribly hollow. I actually didn't read. I don't know what his was. But so they usually say that that's like a bullshit apology. The other thing you're talking about is, and you don't see a lot of this on social media, but there's so much AI of like fake stuff of the two of them, like reenacting the scene and having them do different things and having
really?
Yeah. And then like reenacting it. And now it's like, Trump and Elon Musk and like they're at the Coldplay concert. Like the AI is just gone crazy with their ability to like,
people are making a lot of funnies out of it.
A lot of funnies. He did it as a goof.
What's the worst PR misstep that you've seen from a company, a CEO as of late outside of this?
This was years and years ago. I want to say it was 2018, 2019. But when Facebook had the issue with a breach of data, which they said it wasn't actually a breach of data, but because the data was actually acquired properly or through an app inside of it with Cambridge Analytica, it basically was found where, I don't even know, I want to say it was like 10 million or a whole bunch of Facebook users' information was breached, and they were using it for political strategy or political targeting. And it all came out, and Facebook was quiet for like 5 or 6 days, and they couldn't even, like, Zuckerberg was like not even to be seen for a couple of days. He was hiding in a hole or something. And then finally it came out, and the way they started to assert themselves and combat it was to say it wasn't a breach of data, which technically it wasn't because it was gained through that, but that's very technical.
Yeah.
It was gained through an app that was on Facebook, I believe, and so the data was acquired through regular means. It's just what they did with it was incorrect. But the silence, and then finally when they did it, they didn't make an immediate apology and say, "Look, this is our fault." They kind of made sort of excuses.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
Ultimately, it ended up being $5 billion in fines that they paid.
I feel like they're always kind of getting caught with their pants down.
Well, so this was the start of it. This is now 7 or 8 years ago. But so they were fined the $5 billion, but it created everything you're thinking of like a global reckoning around data privacy on social media. That was kind of like the start of all of that being a huge focus.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying the misstep there was the delay.
Yes, for sure. The delay, complete silence. And then it was, not it was an excuse, because I guess it's true to say it wasn't a breach of data, but it was like the way that was communicated felt more like you're sidestepping the issue or you're not taking responsibility because it's a technicality and it's not, people didn't quite understand it, versus just, look, we're a big behemoth. We understand we're ultimately responsible for this. We've gathered all this information, and it is ultimately our job, or I guess the government decided or deemed later that it is ultimately their job to protect it kind of at all costs.
Okay.
It's an unwinnable thing, truthfully, but that's the one that comes to mind because it basically started the entire, like I said, global reckoning on data privacy and social media. If, let's say, you were caught in something like this, not that you're an adulterer, but you did something, whatever it was, whether people think it's wrong, like whether it's really true or it's not, but you all of a sudden are like the global focus of something that happened, of a wrongdoing or an alleged wrongdoing. Would you, I think I know your answer to this, but like, would you rather be the guy that stays, that lets Twitter tell the story, or the guy who says something immediately, maybe without proper PR crisis communication, like we don't have that, right? And possibly makes it worse? Do you think that your natural reaction would be to kind of like, I don't know, let social media do its thing and then figure out what to say? And then
what do you think my answer is?
First, I think it would take a while for us to convince you that what all of these random people are saying about something that they know nothing about even fucking matters. You'd be like, what? There's a whole bunch of people talking about something else, especially if it wasn't so, because I can't imagine you doing something like that, right? So especially if it wasn't something you're like, I know it's not true. I know that there's no wrongdoing here. So like, let these people talk on social media. That's, I think, would be the hardest thing for somebody like you to be like, why does this fucking matter? Let people be stupid and talk about whatever this is, because I know there's nothing to like.
Well, so in this case, there is a wrong. So if I actually did something wrong, and I'm like, dude, that was a serious mistake or mess up or whatever, then yeah, I wouldn't be silent about it. I would for sure, whether that's an apology or explanation or whatever it is. But also, I don't think I would do it with text. You know what I mean? Like, I would probably record a video.
Yeah. So
because
like so
someone could feel the tone of what you're saying and like understand your explanation and kind of make it more human.
Yeah. Why do they always do it with?
It's like we tell these sales guys in here all the time. There's like the words, music, and dance, which is like the 3 different levels of effectiveness of your communication. Words being like, I think the stats were like 7% effective at what you're saying. Like, how many times have you misread a text or thought the tone was a certain way, but it wasn't? There's that Key and Peele skit on that.
Yeah.
And then, right. And so those are the words, 7%. That's not very high. And then the music part is like the vocal tonality. Like, how are you saying it? That's like 35% effective. And then the dance is like your gestures, like, or even just physically seeing someone versus like over the phone. So seeing someone and how they're saying something is like 58% effective or whatever. So it's like, if I was trying to give an apology or some explanation, I'd probably just record a video of myself, because I'd rather that circulate than copy that people are like, dude, these are just words. Maybe he didn't even write those words.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. But if it were something that was perceived as wrong or completely like taken out of context or whatever, I think you're right. I mean, I'd have a harder time
dignifying it with a response.
Yeah, like, I mean, maybe it'd be another video explaining it or whatever, but I feel like especially when it comes to things that are like off color or people say are racist or whatever, it's like, especially in the last like 10 years, people are just obsessed with like a gotcha culture.
Sure.
That people are just way more focused on trying to catch someone like than they are with even the root problem. Like at the end of the day, they probably don't even care about whatever root problem they're like that specific person. They're just trying to police something that they're like, you said this word and that's racist. You're like, well, what was like I heard this like recently and someone's like, intent versus impact or something. And they're like, like the impact is what mattered, not like your intention. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The intention's everything.
You're saying that like you should be responsible for someone else's feelings of how it impacted them, whatever was done or said, regardless of
like
how
even if you did,
it.
you're like, oh, that's not what I meant. They're like, it doesn't matter what you meant. What happened was you offended this person. And you're like, no, I don't agree with that at all.
That's polar opposite of what, because I mean, that basically means that the result of that, if you did follow that, would basically be that you have to cater to the lowest common denominator.
But that's ultimately what we've come to as a society, is that we have, I mean, how many times has something been deemed offensive, right? Or like changing of words and changing all this stuff. It's because, like, I think that we should manage our response to things.
Sure.
More than trying to cater to because that's a losing battle. You're never going to win that,
Yeah.
I mean, like even in schools, not using, I don't know if Wilder and Crosby have ever had to deal with this, but they're like, oh, we don't use red ink to mark wrong answers because it's just so negative and like derogatory. So we use blue or whatever it is. And it's like, well, now you just ruined two colors because people are going to be conditioned to see that as negative now.
Why is red ink negative or like innately negative or derogatory?
Well, like you mark a wrong answer or something, you're grading a paper, it's like red ink or whatever. I heard this like 10 years ago, so I'm surprised that this isn't, maybe that's not happening.
Maybe it isn't. I've never even thought of it, but I don't know.
Maybe we should look it up. Maybe someone could weigh in on this, but like I've heard this multiple times, like, oh yeah, we don't use red ink anymore. Almost the same way as like when they were playing sports, and like, oh yeah, there's not really a winner anymore. It's like, and they're just all kind of playing.
But that is a weird thing, because basically what you're saying is, well, for so long, red ink has been used to grade papers.
Yeah.
But it's also been used, like A's were given in red ink.
Well, in this case, it's basically like green is good, red is bad. So it's like saying, well, we want to disassociate red being bad because that makes people feel bad. I mean, dude, there's all kinds of stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff out there like that. But I'm like, you're not solving the problem here. You're actually kind of making it worse.
You're exacerbating.
Yeah, you sure are. Anyway, that's a long-winded answer, I know. But does it answer your question?
Yeah, I liked it. I like that a lot.
You think, is there perhaps a formula for when a brand should speak up versus shut up? Is there a situation where they should shut up? Or should they always speak up?
Yeah, I'm sure there's times where there's something to say nothing. I mean, I think if, like, in the example that we just gave, where, like, let's say you actually were not responsible for anything, there is no wrongdoing, there is no issue, and people are making a thing of everything, I think, well, man, that's hard to say, because people will run away with stuff so quickly and turn it into something that's much worse than whatever it is, even if there is something wrong. There was something that happened recently at our club, right, where there was an issue and somebody had to be let go, and it was an employee, and nobody was explaining the reason, and I ended up having a conversation. I heard people talking about it, and like, what's going on? Why did this happen? Why is whatever it was? And I straight up called the GM, and I was like, hey, man, just word on the street, just to let you know, I'm sure whatever the actual reason for what's going on right now, it is much better than some of the crap that people are making up in their heads just because you haven't said anything. So I would go ahead and get ahead of it, and don't give it. Maybe they legally can't tell you something, but people will make up shit that's way worse if you say nothing. So there's probably far fewer situations where I think the right thing to do is to completely stay silent. And you have to fight against the idea to that you don't owe anybody an explanation when you've done nothing wrong, or when there's nothing that's really.
Or giving it breath.
Or giving it breath. Yeah. Well, that's another good example of another thing we just saw. We were in a meeting recently where somebody came up crazily, in extreme opposition of something that's going on. And I thought the presenter just did a great job of just like not giving any oxygen in the room to whatever this.
So in that situation, you don't think an explanation is owed?
No. In that situation, no. I think it's don't give it oxygen. But that's also not when that's a different situation than this. When somebody's done something wrong, a company has had a misstep, or a CEO has had a misstep, and where you say nothing. But I think that the stories people will tell themselves and tell other people, and the believability or or I guess the general public's, the age-old game of telephone. It goes in a millisecond now, and it gets amplified by hundreds of thousands of people. So it's more likely that every minute or day or whatever that you say nothing about something, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It's like in more cases than not, saying something is the right thing to do.
I don't disagree, depending on the situation.
So who knows what's going to happen with Astronomer, but culturally, internally, obviously they are triaging right now. They have their chief product officer that stepped in as CEO, who's also a co-founder. They're trying to like keep the train on the tracks. I wonder what's happening, literally this week, right? Because it was a week and a half ago or something like that. So thinking about their culture internally, obviously this has been a huge speed bump or blast in the face or something. First, how do you build a culture that won't implode the second something goes sideways? And then how also do you think you go about rebuilding a culture after something like this has happened inside an organization?
I mean, I guess it depends how influential that CEO is or was, did he build an amazing team of leadership throughout the entire organization? I would imagine with 400 employees, it's more than just him running the show. Hopefully they've created a strong foundation as far as what their mission is as a company and what they're doing, and kind of following that, understanding that there's human error everywhere, and this one happened to be at the top. Like, I would be more concerned with, you just raised a bunch of money and everyone's looking at your company. So for prospects who are looking to do business with you, maybe they shy away, go to a competitor. That impacts things. Maybe people who are looking for a job end up saying, well, I'd rather not go there if I've got choices A, B, and C. But for existing employees, do I see like a reason for like a huge walkout or something? No. I mean, I guess putting myself in that situation, if I were an employee there, I wouldn't feel that way.
Oh, neither. I think their biggest challenge is probably going to be talent acquisition after this. Just not wanting to be part of like a circus. Assuming that this continues in any way. This honestly, because probably of how quick things like come in and out and people give a shit. Like next year, the government or somebody's going to do something that's totally, crazy, and this will, probably be swept under the rug. But do you think that if employees or people in the company, I guess you could even think of customers, but if employees were going to lose faith in a founder or a leader, a CEO, do you think that they are more likely to lose faith because of the actions that this guy took in his own marriage and with an HR person, or because of how they react to the situation once it happens inside the business?
As to who reacts, the CEO?
CEO and the whole company in general.
I think what it probably is they're just disappointed in his character. That's probably what it is, and I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there that are like, I'm going to take a stand and I don't want to have anything to do with this company because the co-founder was responsible for this, and basically any benefit to the company is increasing his equity, and I don't want to provide any net benefit to him at all. Like, I mean, okay, you could take that stance for sure. But I think like if it were here, for example, I think if that were to happen to you or me, like people would be bummed at our character, right? They'd be like, damn, like we've really like been driving this mission for years and like really believe in it. And like we were led by the co-founders who like pioneered this thing. And it's just a bummer that there is this like piece of them that was so flawed or immoral or unethical or whatever. But did they all of a sudden not believe in what we do? No, that's not related to me.
Yeah. It's a thing where, so like when we talk about stuff with, what we do and what we help people do, and we say like, if you're creating an experience for a customer or for a client and there's an issue, there's a bump in the road, you have to view it as an opportunity to potentially leave them feeling better than they would have had nothing happened. So I guess I wonder whether if his co-founder and the company and the PR people and the investors and whatever take the proper steps now of how they've made a decision to react to this and whatever they do culturally, internally, because they're going to have a whole, changeover of like, what are the guidelines internally? Because for them, it's like, yes, there's an adultery, and that's obviously like I think the worst part of it. But internally, what this means about whether you can trust your superior, whether you can trust management, leadership, whether all sorts of stuff that's been going on heavily in the last 5 or 10 years is going to come to light. Like, was he taking advantage of because of his position of power? Like, that's all going to come out and be a part of the thing of them internally. I wonder if there's an opportunity for them to do things really well, really sensitively, make people go out of their way and go above and beyond and make people feel super safe and super heard and super understand. They're going to have all sorts of different types of people and how they react to this. Some are going to be what we would think is extremely sensitive, and they have to do a really good job of listening to that and supporting it and doing what needs to be done internally. And if they do, I wonder whether they have the opportunity to come out ahead.
I think, I mean, I don't know how this shakes out. I think the woman, Kristen Cabot, I think her name is, I think she's still employed there. I think if I was leading that company, there's no world in which she would stay there. Because to your point, if it wasn't properly, checks and balances, like documented through HR, all the stuff, which there's no way it was, then that I think is actually even a bigger issue, because when you say losing trust in your managers, the chief of people or head of HR or whatever, that's the person who like polices everything and like it's protecting the people and like it's the authority on all when it comes to, so if that person is saying, well, for my own benefit, I'm just going to sleep with the CEO and not tell anyone. Well, now you're like, well, then nothing matters, like all ethics throughout the company, if they're being cascaded down by you, are kind of meaningless.
Yeah. HR is essentially a world, you perceive it as a world of ethics.
Yeah. So I think you completely lose trust in that leadership specifically. Like, do you remember during COVID, Gavin Newsom, who went nuts with like what California went through on restrictions, shutting down restaurants, shutting down everything.
Are you about to talk about French Laundry?
Yes. That's actually a prime example, though. You think about it, it's like he's literally saying like you cannot have Thanksgiving with your families if you're indoors and you're more than 6 people. I mean, the guy's a lunatic. And then he's caught at French Laundry with 12 people or whatever. So right there, you just go, okay, this, like, you clearly don't actually think this, or not enough to have convictions yourself, or the rules don't apply to you. So basically every single thing you do now, I just don't care about. It's kind of what it says to the person who's following this leadership.
Yeah. So essentially there has been trust eroded completely within human relations.
Yeah. It's do as I say, not as I do. And you're like, okay, well then I can't follow this anymore.
Yeah. We should make a prediction right now. I think we've exhausted this. We should make a prediction right now of how long this will stay in the media. What do you think? And you won't know because you're not on it, but like,
well, I think because there's so many opportunities just for humor.
Saturday Night Live.
I think that lives on for a while because it's funny, right? Like you can make a mockery of this for a while, but is it going to be in the Wall Street Journal ever again? No. Like, is it is it ever going to be on the news again? No. Like that's gone.
Do you think there will be ultimately either a negative or measurable negative or positive impact on the business on the astronomer?
If the proper leadership's in place now, I think a net positive. I think that they could totally spin this. I think, and I mean,
what does that look like?
I mean, look, humans are flawed, and if those humans are gone, you're saying at the root of what we do as a company, this is what we do. This is why we raise all this money. This is why we're successful. You can double down, triple down, and it's like the restaurant where you get like or like Taco Bell, you get like insane food poisoning or something. It's like if that case makes the news, like, well, that's the first place I'm probably going to eat next week or whatever, because they probably just put way more protocols than any other competitor in place to never have food poisoning again. Right. So it's like they become the most trustworthy, and that maybe it's a bad analogy, but like the point is anytime you've got a zillion eyeballs on you, there's an opportunity to be had.
Sure. Yeah. And you are going to go above and beyond.
And honestly, if I were them, I would be doing some funnies right now.
Doing some funny stuffs?
I mean, it just makes it more relatable, like if you just like, now
if
the adultery part sucks, right? Yeah. Like that part sucks, but you have to treat the two differently, right? So one thing is the guy's character, like, dude, the guy's cheating on his wife, not cool, whatever. Almost unrelated to most of the work stuff, For them, it's like, because for example, if this were documented internally and said, hey, just so you know, there's this legitimate relationship between head of our HR and CEO, and it's all documented, buttoned up, then your stance would have to be like, well, whoever signed off on that has a moral obligation to that man's wife. You're like, okay, well now we're reaching, right? So
I mean, that's kind of ironic or silly, because if you think about it,
who's signing off on it?
I think it would be her who's signing off on it.
Yeah.
Well, the head of HR was notified.
Yeah. So I mean, like, look, I don't condone it either way. I'm just saying, like, if you separate the things out, I don't think the board of directors is sitting around the table right now thinking, I can't believe what he did to his wife. Like, I think, they should, right? But I think what
they're bigger fish to fry in the company.
Yeah, what they're thinking is, how does this impact us, and what are we going to do to turn it around?
Well, and their fiduciary responsibility is not to the wife; it's to all the shareholders, the investors. I mean, they've got a ton of people on their cap table. So,
and I mean, honestly, I think there's a major opportunity for the wife. Big.
What's that?
Do I sound like Trump right now? Bigger than ever, bigger than anyone's ever seen. Ask anyone.
Yeah.
Think of what's her name? Ariana Madix.
Oh, you're talking about
Vanderpump Rules.
I don't watch this anymore.
Okay, so this young lady, gal, woman, she was with this guy named Tom Sandoval for like 10 years. And a couple years ago...
Your sisters are so proud of you right now.
A couple years ago, it came out. And by the way, because it's a reality TV, it's like, it's all happening in real time, whatever. It was gnarly. This guy got caught cheating on his basically wife-ish, they've been together that long, with her best friend. The way it came out was like insane, super dirty, not cool. Well,
the Tom guy was cheating on?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he spiraled, and
I remember something like this.
And the whole world was talking about it, whatever.
He's like the outcast of the whole world.
Yeah. And I mean, he's probably always going to have some element of that for sure. Well, what happened with her is the whole country got behind her and was like, how could you? Like, poor Ariana, she's the best ever. She's getting brand deals left and right. She's hosting TV shows. I mean, she's like, later Vanderpump Rules, like, I just skyrocketed my career. And I don't know, there's almost like, not saying that's the motive of this wife or whatever, but like all eyes are on her. She's the victim in the story. People want to like bring the victim up. Like,
there's something to be had with like the fact that they deal with this, I think, security or something of data, and now she needs to go on a data.
God. He did it.
Something like that.
I don't know. I don't think that's even in your notes.
And it's not. I turned off my notes a while ago.
Should we check on Tim to see if he's been stabbed in Fountain Valley? Or?
Let's find that out.
I got nothing. Let's see if I can get an update from him.
Tim, may God be with you. This was good.
So you do believe in God?
Again. All right. This has been another episode of the Who Cares podcast. We're still waiting on all of your likes and subscribes and your comments and your questions.
Jeff's going to start just loading us up with guests pretty soon. So
we are.
If you're listening to this and you want to be a guest on the Who Cares podcast,
have something to say. Don't just
call 1-800-WHO-CARES.
Could we get that? You're so good.
I mean, it'd be great because it sounds like cool, but really just everyone's going to hit the S, but the S doesn't do anything. It's already dialing. See?
Oh, who care?
Who care? It's actually who care, but you just say, hey, who cares? And then hit the S just for funsies.
Sure. All right. See you next time.